Children. Children are a factor that adults should pay close attention to now. Children are able to perceive, by virtue of their purity and openness, those energies that adults no longer respond to. We described our experience of interacting with children in the first dialogue. As an intermediate result, we brought Sasha to the online dialogue. A child could have come into a dialogue with an auditory of millions adults. This confirms that children can assimilate knowledge of the change as successfully as adults. During 25 years of interaction with children of different ages, we have created both methods of a dialogue for beginners and guidelines for those who hear and understand. Now it's necessary to continue to interact with children, to open their possibilities of understanding and awareness. The integrity of the world, mutual assistance, and community are the main guidelines in such interaction and parenting. Observing them in the situation of leisure, learning and doing something, we also came into conclusion that now children remain the only layer of society that open to the world by its nature of the need for cognition. Without any doubts, assimilation plays an important role here, the ability to adapt to certain living conditions. An interesting fact that assimilation is chosen in many ways in a new way, which is the improvement of life skills. The situation with training is somewhat different. Here adults consciously and unconsciously resort to constant violence in effort to provide, what they think is necessary, information about their experience. Here you need to understand that the experience acquired and existing, different things. Insisting on applying the existing experience of adults, the last create for children such a situation when they are forced do nothing, what gives rise to infantilism, the desire for permanent guardianship. At this time it is necessary to use experience of the older generation, which is a platform for new improvements. The main contradiction is that now is the time when the experience of the past must be synthesized with the experience of the present. The resulting substance of knowledge can be applied both in science and spiritual practice. Altogether, this should lead new people to understanding of the community, which implements its task of life not only individually, but also in the community. Community has a possibility of repeatedly strengthen the connection with others, providence in the area of the future. The basis of community is an interaction based on cognition of future and present, but not on fear. The gap is created by people when they want to establish in their knowledge but do not want to plunge into knowledge of another human. But such a desire to accept another is true compassion. And if individuals approach this without fear of losing boundaries, then consciousness becomes common, while the uniqueness that the ego values so much, without understanding the essence of this uniqueness, is preserved. And all the practice is available to everyone right at this moment. But the problem is as simple as everything ingenious. That one who sees another one is ready to give himself to him as soon as he sees that the other have understood him, and that one who doesn't see another is ready to fight with all his might to keep himself in his perception. But just start to listen to people. Find that urge in their words and you will see that all of them are beautiful. Children can listen, though adults sometimes think that they miss a lot things. This is a feature of the child, instant sorting of information, due to the small amount of RAM. Remember that moment when you taught your child the words, Mom, Dad. What did you experience? The desire of adults to accept the other is sublimated by the influence of necessity, work, dating, etc. Children accept the world as it is, finding in it their own path. Adults always try to ensure that their children occupy a worthy position in society. But what kind of victims does this lead to? What should children lose to take this position? Openness to space is the main rule for assimilation of a living being. Assimilative functions appear immediately after physical birth, at the level of intuition, the first reflexes. The child reacts to atmospheric, physical stimuli that inform him of the parameters of the living environment. The more the child contacts them, the more viable he becomes. Water, forest, air, heat, cold, the first and important information sources. The parent makes sure that there were no overloads when interacting with environments. Methods of protection are developed at a time when a person can no longer control the ongoing process of a contact with the living environment. At this point, a pause is necessary. It is provided by an artificial interruption, initiated either by the person himself or by some community. In all cases, the person gets the opportunity to stop and analyze the situation. If the analysis does not occur, then at the moment of loss of control, fear arises, which is transformed into a desire to find permanent protection. In a state of constant protection, a person spends much more vital energy than in the normal process of learning. In parallel, the person ceases to contact the environment directly and uses physical or technical intermediaries for this purpose. Parent, teacher, and sorceress are guides for the child in the world. They, and not only, shape the future person. This is a very important and responsible moment in the formation of generations, the birth of which reaches a certain goal of improving the community.